We got to see scrimmage today between the Nuggets Summer League squads. Also, we finally get to talk about Olympic group stage. This is DNVR Nuggets. The funniest storyline to me. Oh my goodness.
It's showtime already?
It is showtime, baby.
All right.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show. Man, that was a lot of air horns for a nice little Wednesday, a little hump day. We are live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Man, I saw Nick Rossetti today, our social media Gen Zer. Drives a Tacoma, awesome Tacoma. Had no idea. Did you see it?
I did not see that.
Incredible car. I was car envy today.
I think that's
he
what
makes
I was,
too much. He makes too much.
That's what I was driving in my first 3 years at DNVR as well.
Great show for you. Great show for you today, guys. You're going to love it. We got to watch scrimmage today, like 10 minutes or so. But it was very interesting. So we'll talk about what stood out to us, what things we noticed. I think there was meaningful takeaways there. We'll also talk about the scrums today. We're going to talk about the Olympic group play tonight. Do you know Jamal Murray plays a game tonight?
That remains to be seen.
I think he's going to play. Well, Team USA versus Canada is going to be live on your televisions on FS1 tonight. So that gives us a chance to talk about the Olympics for the first time this year. Should be good. And then Jamal Murray contract clauses, fair or foul. All that and more on the show. Brendan Votes in the house.
What's up, fellas? Really fun day in the gym today.
It really was.
Fun summer Nuggets vibe, you know? Got me feeling like, I don't know, maybe I'll enjoy Vegas this year, you know?
You got a college baseball coach vibe going on.
Yeah, this is also known as Laundry Day, which I've had a lot of lately. It's kind of been the same laundry emergency for several days. So I plan on taking care of that.
And then over here, look who it is! It's D-Line!
So when I was in Serbia, I was talking to somebody and they were like, I watched the show.
It's a party. D-Line's here.
They were like, yeah, I watched the show. Blah, 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 blah.
No, really? That's what they said?
Yeah, I was like, man, that sucks.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually love that. Shout out to that guy. That's incredible. Our top story tonight is that we got to watch a little bit of scrimmaging today. You know, every day, training camp is 4 days long for Summer League. It's really short. The guys don't really know each other's names. Like, the first day you could totally tell is what was accomplished today? Nothing. Like, we went through literal drills.
We did name tags.
Yeah, I did name tags. I think by day 3 you start to see, okay, there's some things settling in, some storylines. And you always get to watch a little bit of a scrimmage from one. Today we got to see it. What stood out to you, Bo?
I'll tell you who stood out to me.
You can do a who if you want.
If that's all right. PJ Hall. PJ Hall looked really good.
He really did?
I think part of it was because he was playing really hard, had a good sense of what he wanted to do out there. I think he looked fairly comfortable. On a more broader note about watching the game, as I often feel in the first 3 to 4 quarters of Summer League, very fun reminder of the levels to this because
oh my God.
so many of these guys who are competing for some sort of opportunity won't get an NBA spot.
Yeah.
Probably won't come close. And yet, it's really physical. It's really quick. It looks really high level despite the chemistry still being something they're working on. So it was just nice to... It was just fun because I thought it was... They were going hard in that scrimmage, man. It looked physical. It looked quick. And it was just a nice reminder of how good the best guys are and what it looks like to be fighting for a spot just to get into this league.
What do you know about PJ Hall, D-Line?
Very little. Was he the one that was formerly the teammate of Hunter Tyson, or the guy from Creighton?
Teammate, roommate?
I know very little. I just know that he's Hunter's homie. They went to Clemson, so I'm coming in very fresh on this.
I will say very country. I know we're doing this, but he was even, I think, as country as Hunter Tyson, which was great. Hunter alluded to it. But to your point, he was a big part of the game today, and some of this is, I think his game is loud. And I mean this in 2 ways. One, he involves himself in every part of the action. You know, he's very into it. But also, I used to say this is a negative thing about J.J. Hickson. When you set a screen, you can dive to the basket, and maybe you'll get the ball, maybe you don't, but you're cutting hard basically to clear room, or you could pop, or you could short roll. J.J. Hickson would always short roll, which was like the only option on that play is to get the ball to J.J. Hickson. And I'm not saying he's doing this in a bad way, but he was in the middle of a lot of actions from the 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it was that we saw. I did walk away kind of thinking like, not only he played well in those moments, so he was phenomenal actually in the minutes. But I did keep thinking like, wow, he really is kind of everywhere. The ball just is always going to him. And of all the guys, that would not have been my guess. He was on a team with Deron Holmes, and with Jalen Pickett, with Hunter Tyson, and with Trey Alexander, and yet I felt like the ball touched it once a possession.
If he posted up, it was going to him.
And
that was interesting.
In your early estimation, is his strong suit and his skill set? Is he a shooter? What is he?
I think he kind of has a lot of, I think it's more offensive, posting up against mismatches, and this is why I think there's a lot of screening. Everybody switches, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? I got to post up now. I got a guard on me, and I think that's part of why the ball kept finding him, is it was the right play. But I think that is that he's kind of a fulcrum. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is PJ Hall, I think his strength is a fulcrum. And then when you talk about a summer league, does that mean he's going to be the center of attention more often than I thought? I don't know. It's 5 minutes of game we watched.
That's the thing. He also looked like a target. Like for the playmakers, he looked like a target.
Yeah.
Hunter told us his athleticism would pop. It did.
Yeah.
PJ looked big and strong, and he was flying around out there. So I did not feel like, in terms of the physicality, like he looked. Some folks may have looked overwhelmed. He did not.
He had a great pass too. They ran, so there was like 11 seconds left. The starters were up by double digits, like 8-16 or something, and they call a timeout because they want to drop a play. And they drop a play, and he catches it in the post, makes a really quick, nice skip pass to a wide open 3-point shooter. I think it was Hunter.
It was Hunter,
and he knocks it down. And it was one of those ones where you're like, "That's a good pass." It's a quick, nice little bang bang read from him. So
I will say their chemistry really actually did pop. Because look,
you're right.
There's not a lot of avenues to chemistry for the guys out there.
Yeah.
But honestly, we'll get to this when we do kind of notes and quotes, but literally just them being friends, I think, gave them a leg up, and former teammates, of course, a leg up over just sort of the rest of the... But they had a couple of finds. And I would say Hunter stood out, but you would expect that, I think. And but PJ Hall was the other guy that caught my eye. I also thought Jalen Pickett had some moments. Nothing exceptional, but you can see, that guy is good at finding open guys and getting guys open. You can see that.
I thought he looked really good. I mean, like you said, there wasn't a flashy play. He missed one of the jumpers that he took, one of two, I think. But he just gets the ball everywhere it's supposed to go every single time. I was talking to somebody on staff today just about what stood out to him, because I think one of the big fears with Pickett is that he's kind of slow, right?
Yeah.
Brings the ball up slow. And they were like, that has been a point of emphasis since we got him, and he's really made improvements there. I think if there's one thing you're going to judge him by, it will be that. How quickly do you get the ball up the court? How quickly do you go? I will say today, and look, I don't even know the guy's name he was going up against, to be honest with you, just yet, on the other side. It wasn't like last year they could be Colin and Pickett scrimmaging and we'd watch it. This year it wasn't that. But nonetheless, it did not stick out to me in any way about them playing slow. It felt fast today in the pickup game.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that obviously is the real question about Pickett. I mean, he's able to, his shooting is great. His passing is great. It's just it's his speed and his size, right? Like, that's the one thing is that, like, and particularly with his speed and size contrast.
I think with the ball in hand.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, when he has the ball in hand, it's like he plays kind of like booty ball. He plays the bully style. And it's like not immediately clear that his size and his quickness will allow for that at this next stage. So I'm very curious. I mean, obviously, like, he's been a topic of conversation for us for a while. I'm very curious to see what happens with him this year.
The other standout for me personally was Hunter Tyson, and I don't know if you mentioned him or not, but we didn't talk about him. His shot really did look great. I think he went like 3 for 4 or something in the portion that we were watching.
I cannot wait for summer Tyson, dude.
Dude, his shot, it's funny because I don't know where to slot him as a shooter on our team. You know what I mean? Or on the Nuggets. Like, there's guys that you're like, okay, Julian Strother. But when I watch him, I'm like, that looks like a perfect shooter. He looks like he's as good. And then when Julian's talking about him as a shooter, I'm like, maybe he really is. That's how we should think of him, as the best shooter on the team or in that conversation. Because even today, he gets 2 open threes, and both of them were just like, oh, yeah, that's for sure in the moment it left his fingertips.
Dude, Mike and he's got Mike Tyson.
Oh, we need a Mike Tyson duo. Hell yeah.
Hunter's going to have a real
so in.
argument for best shooter on the Summer League team. And
Dude,
with respect to Julian Strawther, Hunter's good at it. I will say, we had Hunter Tyson on the show yesterday, so we did not go over practice notes. One thing, I asked Andrew Munson, besides shooting, what can you tell me about Hunter Tyson? Because we talk about the shooting all the time. And he said he's a good cutter, but he also said he plays really hard.
Yeah,
and I thought
of course.
that popped in the scrimmage today.
He grabbed a board that was like, had no chance. I would not.
You know, there's like
that.
scooping over it, like you could almost come over the ball and
had to like reach back, almost like was it Odell Beckham Jr. with the one-handed grab? It was almost like that to grab the board.
I thought he and PJ Hall had the most impressive kind of consistent rebounding effort.
Yeah.
So those two guys, I thought they just stood out as playing their asses off today. So
I got one more guy for you that actually stood out to me, and we didn't even talk about this. Gabe McLaughlin, who I think people are referring to as the G League AG, or the AG of the G League.
G League AG.
G League AG, Gabe McLaughlin. Super athlete. I think he had all of the points for the second team, and he just he does get up a lot. He jumps pretty well.
He's also much like AG, built like a Terminator.
Yeah.
That guy looks he is big and strong. That's an athlete.
So the Nuggets have one open two-way spot. I would give him early odds on that spot. I mean, again, this is my own personal kind of trying to read tea leaves or hear whatever. I think he's a guy to keep an eye on if you're the type of people that like to scout those types of things.
Interesting. I am one of those kind of people. I will pay attention.
Braxton Key. He might be this year's Braxton Key.
You mean the guy that gets mad at us?
Cut the mic too. All right, what else we got?
Let's get to quotes then, shall we? Because I think that's our.
Actually, I have one more piece of like behind the scenes news.
Please do, man. Yeah.
So last year, Marko Baric, if you guys remember, the Serbian coach of Megalex, came over and was a guest. It was almost like an exchange program. This year, and I'm going to mess up the name. I should have looked this up before we came on. Domantas Sabonis' brother.
That's right. Yeah.
Who is a coach in Lithuania. He is over as part of this. I mean, I'm calling it an exchange program. They bring guys in. I think it helps, get networking a little bit, but also to give a guy some NBA experience. I think it's actually a very cool program that they're kind of installed here. But you look at him, looks exactly like Domantas Sabonis.
I was going to say, D-Line, the note you would love is that you can very easily tell it's his brother.
Yeah.
Really?
The hair, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
I like that.
Somebody look up his David and let me know. Because I forgot who it is, but he is a coach. Domantas Sabonis' brother. All right, that was it.
All right, that was it. We also spoke with the two-way fellas today.
Okay.
Trey
That's right.
Alexander and PJ Hall. Let's start with Trey Alexander, whose name has come up a couple of times. What stood out for him so far with the team is he said everyone's competitive nature, just playing really hard. Then he said sharing the ball and playing the right way, which I think is pretty hard to do in this environment. And he says, but they have a lot of guys who seem committed to it. He likes the ball movement so far. Adam followed up and asked about a team identity, if one has emerged so far. And he said, defense. We know we have a lot of guys that can score. I think we're probably one of the more loaded teams at Summer League, but defense is what's going to put us over the top. If it sounds like Michael Malone has been in his ear, you'll love this next part. Coach Malone talks about it every single day. He said, you won't get on the court if you don't defend. So that point is making its way through to Trey Alexander and others so far.
The only thing that I heard is that we have a loaded Summer League team.
I knew it was
so good.
Dude, he said I think we have one of the most loaded Summer League teams.
Sure
So
did.
I was like, all right,
We do.
I love it. I will say one thing on the defense, though. Again, talking to some people today around the arena, small. It's a small team. Like even PJ Hall, 6'10", he's just a thick guy, but I think speed is going to be a big deal for them. So teams that can handle their speed, Denver's not going to get a lot of stops. I think Denver's games, high scoring. I expect some high scoring affairs for the Summer League because I'm not sure they're going to be able to stop a lot of like interior scoring, but we'll see.
Yeah, but the focus is on defense. And listen, man, Malone has been around. We'll get to that in a second. Asked why he liked the fit with Denver. And honestly, he talked about opportunity because he likes his versatility as a guy who can play both 1 and 2. He thinks Denver has guys like that, including Jamal Murray, who he mentioned that he looks up to, by the way. He just likes the way that he's able to score out of the pick and roll, the way he's able to play both the 1 and the 2. He views him as a guy that he's enjoyed watching a lot, a guy he wants to learn from. And he also said that Malone has talked to him about his versatility. But that he hopes he can develop into a 1 at the next level. And you followed up asking him, Adam, what is the biggest thing that will go into developing into a 1? And I liked his answer right away. He said patience, which I thought was a good answer for a scorer. I thought he was trying to have some answers that indicated a desire to become to have a focus on playmaking and making other guys better. But I think you can also tell this guy's a scorer at heart, so that's part of his game. So patience, I thought, was an interesting answer for him. I asked him what a good summer league looks like for him. He says just winning. He just wants to win. And if he's impacting winning, he's good with it. Didn't have much to say about scoring in that level. He just wants to go out there and win. A couple of guys he models his game after. Jamal Murray, as mentioned. Kyrie Irving.
Which part of his game?
With Murray scoring out of the pick and roll and the versatility.
Right.
Kyrie, I think, is a little bit self-explanatory. Every guard wishes they could play like Kyrie, I'm sure, to some extent. And then DeJounte Murray, which we had tabbed as maybe a body type comp for him, he said the same thing, kind of long and lanky. I do think DeJounte's a bit bigger, but it is that kind of track and field NBA body type, that long, lanky thing. So I thought that was an interesting answer from him. Seemed young, but I think a youthful professionalism.
The thing I would say I take away from him is that he, identified Denver as a place he wanted to be because of opportunity. He looked around and said, okay, Jalen Pickett is a 1, Jamal Murray is a 1/2, and everybody else, there's nobody else that's a 1/2. I'm a 1/2, so I can play alongside Jamal. I can play a point guard spot. I can do a lot. And so he at least views this as a place where he thinks he has a chance to get on the court. And again, when you said that he models his game after Jamal, that's a real thing. And he's like, yeah, like we're kind of both combo guards. Like we both do that kind of stuff. So whether it's true or not, we'll find out. But that was at least how he views himself. Let's take a break.
Okay, let's do that.
We have more people to talk to, including PJ Hall on the other side. Stay tuned.
Nice. What a tease. Hey, when the Nuggets are looking for someone new to join the squad or just to push it, hey, they invite them to Summer League, right? Maybe a training camp deal.
That's what they do.
If you're looking for someone new to join your company, check out Indeed. Indeed is
I thought you were going to say Summer League.
No, Indeed.
Okay.
If Indeed is driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate is actually not to search at all. You don't want to search. You want to match. And you can match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work here. Get this stuff done. But again, it's not just about quickness and efficiency. You want high quality matches. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers just that. Highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. And if you need to feel like your Denver Nuggets are playing when you watch sports, if you need to feel like it's not just an ordinary game but something special, you need Bet365, baby.
Oh, hell yeah,
They
dude.
don't do ordinary over there. They believe
No, they
every
don't.
sport should be epic, and right now new customers can choose between 2 offers.
Hold on, I'm trying to bet Nuggets to win the
Summer League, yeah, I'm sure you are. Viewers that are familiar with the program, you know this by now. If you're new, you should know. Right now, new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Then you deposit $10. You'll get a choice here: a bet and get offer. Place a bet of $5 or more, get $150 in bonus bets. Or, of course, the first bet safety net offer, placing a bet up to $1,000. If your qualifying bet loses, you get a matched refund and bonus bets. How neat is that? Disclaimer though, you have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
So this is a real question, even though it's a dumb question.
Oh, those are most of our questions.
Yeah, most of our questions. Like you can't say a summer league. How much is it? What fraction of that is compared to a NBA championship? Right, NBA championship is a million trillion times more important.
Right,
but what fraction is it of an in-season tournament championship?
I was gonna say. All right.
How many summer league championships could you win in a row? Would you trade for?
So
one?
here's the ranking of how it goes.
Okay.
So winning the offseason, that's ranked.
That's 76ers. Daryl Morey just collected his 9th straight offseason
Winning the
championship.
offseason, that's number 5. Winning summer league. Whoo. It's such an oasis in a desert that it feels better than it is. But I haven't actually watched the final game in any of the seasons.
Yeah.
So that's going to be number 2.
Okay.
NBA championship number 3. Easy. Nobody
easily,
cares.
Yeah.
Bad ratings. And then obviously in-season tournament, you hang...
Banners
Once
are
you
forever,
hang the
baby.
banner, dude. The number 1 banner. That's number 1.
The
That's
Lakers
number
could
1.
honestly, like, I know the Celtics won the championship, but the Lakers could get 2 championships
Back
this
to
year.
back, baby.
Back to back. Well,
Back to back.
a little in between there.
Back,
Almost to back.
almost back to back.
All right, what do you got? PJ Hall.
PJ Hall, the two-way fellas went back to back, and PJ Hall was out of breath when he sat down.
Okay.
The guy was working hard, and Adam asked him for a scouting report, and he said, "I'm a fighter." Going out there and wanting to win, doing whatever it takes. Listed some things: screening, shooting,
Dude, I want somebody
rebounding.
at some point to be like, I'm only going to do one thing, and whether it helps to win or not, I don't care.
Yeah, Marcus Howard. Marcus Howard's like, I'm actually here to get buckets.
He's like, he's like, I'm not going to do what it takes to win. I'm here to get shots.
Yeah. No, but Hall told us that he plays to win. But as far as his skill set goes, stretching the defense, pick and pop threes, guard multiple positions, and punishing the switch. He said that all very succinctly. Like, he had that down. I was impressed. He had his scouting report
I like
down.
PJ Hall, man.
He had a good vibe, man.
He had a great vibe.
When asked about why Denver, the fit with Denver, he said, I had a good workout with them, then corrected himself. Actually, I had a great workout with them. One of my best. I think this is a great spot for me. And then really, I mean, this is the most important note of the day, everyone.
Oh, my God.
As you know, we had...
Hold on. We have the clip.
Oh, I was...
Oh, you're teed it up.
As you know, we had Hunter Tyson, the Monroe Menace, on the show. And we did Hunter hunted. We asked him which animals he thinks he can defeat in battle. And he said he could beat a bear in combat. That was a bit suspect to us.
Black bear, hand to hand combat.
And Tiff, we got PJ Hall to comment on this very thing. Can we roll the clip?
Yesterday, your buddy Hunter Tyson told us he could beat up a black bear in hand-to-hand combat. You know him better than me, so is this? Could he do that?
Dude, he's been saying that for like 3 or 4 years.
That makes sense. That explains why.
Yeah,
He's thought about this.
We used to go through a scenario about this. Is gonna sound stupid, but like I used to say you'd have a better chance with a shark, which yes, you do. Like there's very little shark attacks. Like if you fight a shark, it's gonna sound dumb, but like I know like either jab the eyes, you rotate the nose. Like it's actually, unless it's coming at you like jaws, like it's not that bad. Right. But a black bear is the only bear that has a chance, but he's gonna get torn apart. Like, he's gonna get torn apart.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. It's the largest animal you think you have a chance against?
Kangaroo. I'd kill it. I'd kill it. Okay. Yeah, and those things are dangerous, but I mean, like, I've seen videos of them fighting people, and they kind of get stunned. So I'm gonna hit them and just go at them.
I'm telling you, I'm all in. I'm all in on PJ Hall. This is my favorite two-way we've ever had.
There's nothing like the earnesty of a country boy answering a question.
There
like
was
that.
like 7 layers to how he answered that question. We got to dig down into all of them.
I was praying that when he said the biggest animal that you think you could take, that he would have said Hunter Tyson.
Well, first of all, the question is asked, and he goes, he's been saying this for 3 or 4 years. The question we asked him, he tried to pretend he was play coy. He's been talking about this for years.
Everybody has talked about it. We ourselves did this on this very set. We talked about which animals were most vulnerable to our strengths. Yes, and you know, at a certain point, nobody's going to beat a bear. I was no man will beat a bear. The most impressive thing that I heard is that somebody was able to take out a mountain lion, a young mountain lion.
Yeah, it was a young one. Very desperate.
Bear, dude, you're not going to beat something that has built-in weapons.
Yeah, that's so true.
But not only was this a question he had thoughts on, it was a question that the two of them had considered in the past.
Of course.
What a
The best.
treat. What a treat.
And also, he's like, we have this scenario. I like that. Just the regular cage match of a fight. It's like, what about this scenario? You're on a boat. You're kind of tired.
I love when he catches himself because he realizes it's a summer league scrum. He's like, okay, this is going to sound really stupid.
I'm all in. I'm all in on PJ.
By the way,
favorite guy on summer league.
He's right. I think you have a better chance with a shark than a bear.
I do like the first. I mean, although Mike Tyson discredits this, but I like going in with a strategy. Like the first time you get raked across the face, you lose your strategy. But all the same, once you have one.
And then finally, he did comment on chemistry with Hunter, and he said it's little things, even just like hearing his voice out there. He hears him better. This is a guy he's been friends with, a guy he's played with in the past. And yeah, having a guy out there that he's played with for like 3 years, one of his closest friends, that's awesome. It's been a fun storyline, I think, actually, at camp for a lot of people.
Hold on a second. Pull up Josh Botnat from Down Under's He says American animals are terrifying, to be honest.
He's
What are
one
we
to
talking
talk.
about?
From Australia?
Yeah,
What?
It's just fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
I would 100%.
Like 9 of the 10 most deadliest snakes, all of the spiders on Earth.
And the kangaroos just put your dogs in headlocks, bro.
And drown
It's
them. They
crazy.
drown them in a
Yeah.
river is what they take them to the
Yeah,
water
dude.
and drown them.
Nothing is scarier to me than Australian wildlife, but thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Speaking-
Even a drop bear? You ever heard of a drop bear?
I have not. Speaking of scary guys, we also spoke
Bossies know what I'm talking about.
with head coach Michael Malone. Just kidding. He was not scared today. He was in a great mood. And
The best mood I've ever seen him in.
he was rocking a UNC shirt. Go Tar Heels. Why? Well, his youngest daughter just committed there to play volleyball. So congrats to the Malone family. There's a new Tar Heel fan in the Nuggets locker room. But Malone has been around, man. And when asked about what stands out to him so far, he started with the coaches, Andrew Munson, John Beckett, the rest of the staff. He said, these guys are all doing a hell of a job, and it's really neat. I go back to when I was an assistant, and when you get that opportunity to coach a summer league team and how much you put into it, I'm really impressed with the job that they're doing. Went on to talk about the players a little bit, started with Deron Holmes. And he said, you could tell that on day one, it was a lot coming at him. Looked a little overwhelmed maybe, but then day 2, he comes in, he looks better. Day 3, he comes in, he looks better. He's starting to get settled, starting to get used to our terminology. So that's, just an interesting note there. You know who else really impressed him? Trey Alexander. He's been really impressed with Trey.
Oh, he loved Trey.
And here we go, back to what we talked
loved
about
Trey,
earlier.
man.
It's his ability to play both on and off the ball.
Well,
to
big
get by
fan.
people, to make his teammates better. To
Eyes lit up.
to shoot the ball. And lastly, he said he's been really well coached. So Michael Malone,
Wow.
so far,
That's the greatest line. I didn't even catch that one.
you didn't get
That's
that?
great. Yeah.
Michael Malone's a big
Remind
Trey
me of that one
Alexander
later.
fan so far. Big time fan. And then PJ Hall, he finished with in terms of this answer. How could you not love that kid? Big, strong, physical, skilled, shoots the ball extremely well. And then all the other guys that were here, he said, just working hard. It's been a real joy for him to be around these guys. And he is taking a different approach than last year. He says he tries to give the coaches and the guys space. Because, look, he's not the head coach of this summer league team. But last year, he wasn't involved much. And he said this year he wanted to take a different direction with that. He wanted the guys to know, look, I'm not the head coach of your summer league team, but I am involved. I'm going to be a part of it.
I thought that was a very interesting note, and it makes sense. Last year they had the finals. They go all the way till this time, so he had no break. But I did think it was neat that it was like almost a regret of his.
Yeah.
Of like, I wasn't that involved last year, and I want to be this
He
year.
gets it. Summer League's important.
He wants the players and the coaches to know that he's around and he's invested. And it sounds like he's been doing some coaching. He said, I try to give, Munson the players their space, but it's hard for him. It's hard for him to be in a gym and not just go into coach mode.
Well, so I thought all in all, is there more notes from
Couple
him?
more, a couple more that I think are interesting here. He gave a lot of credit to Julian Strother for being in the gym pretty much since the season ended.
Rolled his ankle, by the way, today. Non-serious, though, they said. And no, actually, I saw him walking later. He had zero limp.
He
Not
looked-
even
he
like
looked
a light
completely
one.
fine. I think
they
it was
said
just-
they said he'll be ready Friday.
But he said he rolled his ankle today, so he didn't play a lot, but he's been in our gym every single day. Same with Hunter. Those two, I think, are setting the tone. And then he circled back. Jalen Pickett has been in the gym a bunch. Those 3 guys are helping all these other new players come in and get settled. And then finally, I think this is, 2 more notes on the point guard situation. We'll start with Julian. And he said, obviously, he's not just a scorer. He has the ability to put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts, but we want to expand his game. We feel like he's a guy that in today's NBA can play the 1. We think he has all the tools, not to be a full-time point guard, but a secondary ball handler. We do not have a lot of that, he said, and I certainly agree. So maybe a bit like we talked about with Christian Brown last year, explore a little bit of what it means for Christian Brown, I think, to do some secondary ball handling.
I think this note is one of the most meaningful ones. He views Julian Strother as a guy capable of being, if not a primary ball handler, like plan A, that a guy that you could throw out there, like we don't have a point guard, but Julian's out there, it's fine. And I found that to be very interesting. At least that's how I took it. He views that he has a lot of secondary playmaking already in him and handling, that he could even run some point if he needed to. And honestly, we've never talked about Julian Strother running point, even as like a stagger or something. What do you make of that?
I mean, I think that one of the big shortfalls of the Nuggets last year was that they kept needing to get Jamal off the ball because he was getting tired bringing it up. So I'm sure that as a coaching staff, or at least Michael Malone is like, all right, I need to find ways. It's not just Aaron Gordon or need to have as many people that can handle the ball as possible and try to cultivate that. So I'm not really surprised, but it's cool. Like I'm looking for Julian to get more involved just in general. So hearing his name in bigger roles is like a positive in every sense.
I think Julian's the guy that has the most, I don't want to call it buzz, because, I mean, he's the first-round pick of last year, so he should have the most buzz or whatever, but I do feel like the organization has a lot of hope for Julian this year.
Well, and I think you can view him as a swing factor in some regards, right?
For sure
I think
he
you
is.
can pencil a lot of guys into roles and expected impact. I think Julian's got the chance to make the bench either worse or not as good as we hoped, just as far as a swing factor goes, an X factor goes. There is one other ball handler to talk about, though, and Malone did speak on Jalen Pickett. You asked him what he hopes to see here going forward, especially in Summer League. He said, I want to see his ability to play with pace. Make or miss, don't walk the ball up. Attack the clock. Get downhill. Be more vocal. Run his team as a point guard. He's so used to having the ball in his hands a ton. Obviously, he had a hell of a career at Penn State doing so. But with us and our style of play, getting off the ball is important. And then defensively, can you be a guy one-on-one containing? Pickett is so strong. We want him to use that to his advantage out there.
It will be interesting. I thought it was very interesting. All those notes are very interesting to me, and I'm excited to watch the squad. We got one more practice tomorrow. I think it's a very short one, and then they head out because they play on Friday, so I don't think they're going to push it too hard. Short, early practice tomorrow, and then they're off to Vegas, and Friday night we see them.
I can't wait, man.
Me too.
I can't wait. This is it's not going to be a full change, but at least we'll get like a little talcum powder on our dirty diaper from last season.
Oh, I'm already over. I've already changed.
Not me.
Really?
I mean, nothing's happened for me.
That's part
I
of
missed
it.
the draft.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's true. You haven't. You
I'm
haven't
as
been out
dirty
of
as
it.
I'm as dirty as I was.
Oh man, that's rough. All right, let's take a break. You know what? Let's start talking Olympics on the other side. Group play. It's out. Let's talk about it.
Eric, since you left, some things changed. Some things have stayed the same, and one of those things has stayed the same. Is our good friends are still the fellas at Red Hawk Roofing. Denver's best roofers. They've joined the DNVR team. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. That's always nice. Colorado's best estimators and contractors. Huge DNVR supporters, for whatever that's worth to you. Should be worth a lot. Also just big Nuggets fans. So cool guys to hang out with, to talk with. And of course, some guys that you can trust when it comes to not just your property, but an industry that is not necessarily built for customer transparency. It is possible to get ripped off in this industry, frankly. And it's very important to Red Hawk Roofing that does not happen to you. Free no obligation roof and property inspections, free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Supporting your local teams also means supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or your business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921. Tell them DNVR sent you. They don't do windows, do they? Never mind.
Are they going to Vegas? Should hit them up.
We should hit them. Yeah, it might just
They
be
might
there.
be at Summer League.
They might just be there.
I want to
completely.
do Vegas with those guys.
Oh man, I think I might need to up my insurance policy for both my roof and
My life
Yeah.
insurance.
And what you definitely don't want to do is Vegas alone. In fact, you don't want to do much alone in this life. You don't want to go it alone,
There's some things.
especially when you don't
There are
have
a
to.
lot of things, yeah.
This is where BetterHelp can come in, because what makes life difficult, what makes relationships difficult to navigate, it can be overwhelming. It can be crippling sometimes, but you don't have to navigate it all on your own. You can benefit from talk therapy like so many have. Whether or not, whether or not you've tried therapy before, I think you should consider reaching out to a professional to talk to. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/DNVR today. You'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR.
And we are back. So, the Olympics are right around the corner. It's so great, dude. Like, in a weird way, we are only one more day of like this weird off season. We get a fake on season here in a second.
Dude,
fake-
it's so odd. I love the Summer League on season.
The Summer League on season, which will carry right into, equally as exciting, there's all of these Olympic friendly games, including
Let's go.
Jokic and Team Serbia here in a
Nothing-
couple days.
Dude, I hope that there's nothing friendly about that game.
Well, there you go. But group play is out. We had the preliminary, the qualifying round, and the group play is set. The field is set. Let's take a look here. Group A, shall we, Tiff? Group A for the Olympics, and it is
Oh, we're not in this one either? Oh,
Australia, Greece, Canada, Spain. Fellas, the group of death. Look at this thing.
This is insane.
So Canada's like all NBA players. Australia's all NBA players. No stars, but they've got. Let me go through Australia here. Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Josh Green, Dante Exum, Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels, Jock Landale, Duop Reith, and Matthew Dellavedova.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a squad.
I mean, there's no stars there, but those are all role players. You know, like that's all. So we'll see how they are. Greece has Giannis. By the way, on Bet365, Australia plus 3,500. If you go to Greece, plus 2,500. Canada plus 1,100. You guys know their roster, of course, features our Jamal Murray, who, by the way, is now on the final roster, so he is playing on the team. And then Spain, who has the Hernan Gomez bros, has Santi Aldama, Lorenzo Brown for some reason. Remember how he just joined he got nationalized? Now he's on the squad, which is really weird, and he's awesome there. Rudy Fernandez and Usman Garuba. Spain is the Spurs. They're at plus 7,500. Should not be good, but they're always.
Yeah, but they're the one that just is most want to win somehow. They just win a lot, and it's you just talked about all the star power, and I loved a graphic I saw on social the other day because it's Giannis, it's SGA and Murray, and then Willie Hernan Gomez. And by the way, they might win.
They straight up win hardware over there. They win hardware.
They're winners.
So they're seeing if that can keep alive. But just as in terms of a pool, man, Greece, with Giannis, then you have two teams that are just loaded. I look at that and I go, I think Canada's they're not a lock to make it out. That's my point. They're almost certainly going to, but the other main teams to me are like a lock to make it out.
Bro,
this is tough, man.
Rudy Fernandez is playing again.
Dude, Rudy Fernandez, he's the Jamal Crawford of Spain.
Brother.
He's not gonna retire. He just wants to play.
Never
I love basketball. I'm gonna keep playing.
It really is insane. There are guys that have been retired for 10 years that appear on Olympic squads.
Yeah.
You're like,
Matthew
what?
Dellavedova. You remember him in 2016?
What?
And he's
is Pau Gasol playing? He has to be, right?
And his top two advance, right? Top two from each group.
Well, so what it is top two in each pool, and then there's two wild cards, and it's like that. It's like the in-season tournament where it's like the point system. So you could, you were just in the tough pool, you got your ass kicked, and now you're out.
Right.
Meanwhile, Japan narrowly loses, and it's a weird system that they can get them in. I look at that and I go, that's the group of death. But for us, Canada is going to have all bangers.
Yeah.
And that's actually exciting. Am I more excited for Canada's group play at least than I am for Serbia's? I think I am.
Oh, for Serbia. I thought you were going to say U.S. Yes.
Well,
they're
Serbia
in the same
has.
group,
We'll
so
get to them in a second, but there's one great game, and I don't know. Canada's going to have nothing but good games. I'm excited for it. Who do you like to make it out of that group, real quick? I think you have to say Canada.
Yeah, I think you do have to say Canada, but I wouldn't be surprised even a little bit if Spain was the number one.
They're not going to win all three. I think Spain can upset. I don't know if they can beat all of them. But
I think Spain can get through over Australia, but I think Canada can win this group or should win this group. Even.
They should.
Greece
I think they should.
Greece is Giannis.
I know,
and then they're the opposites. Like a star, no role players,
right.
And then 12 role players, no star.
I mean, I don't think they're a joke, but even with Giannis, this is a tough group. Their work is cut out for them.
Greece could not advance, which is really crazy. So Canada, and then I don't know who else. Josh Barnett says Delhi hasn't even dominated the NBL. Why is he on the list? I don't get it. Dellavedova. So funny.
Delhi's got a bad game. Why is he around?
Let's look at Group B now, shall we? Group B. You've got Germany. They're reigning international champs. They won the World Cup gold last year.
Bummed me out. I gotta say, man, that game bummed me out.
But they're kind of like Spain, man. They have enough NBA players. I mean, there's a handful. I'll go through them real quick. Germany has the Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner, Dennis Schroeder and Daniel Tice. So they have some players. And then France, who I think France is sneaky pick here. Wembanyama, Gobert,
the tallest group of all time.
They also have Ntilikina and Koulibaly, which are just incredible defenders. Batum's a good defender, and then Fournier, as well as a host of other European players. But they have 4 elite defenders. I don't know how well they're going to score.
Yeah.
But they have Ntilikina, Koulibaly, Gobert, and Wemby. How do you score on that?
Well, with international rules, just Gobert and Wemby alone next to each other, it's like a Space Jam challenge or something. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
France plus 1,500 to win the tournament. And I look at that and I go, I think the U.S. is winning. I mean, we're going to pull in, this or that. But I think the U.S. is as a juggernaut. But France might be able to beat them. Like they're the team that I think might have the most upset just in, they're running zone and knocking everything off the rim.
This one game.
And the U.S. is kind of confused. That's when you beat the U.S., it's usually because they don't have a plan B and they don't really strategically work around something.
I want to buy a ton of French stock Except that even some of the few French people I know are worried about this team, and when they're not being boastful, I mean, it's just, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just.
There's just like a bump. There's a bump. There's a tall guy bump that goes on when you think about France. Like you're like, man, they're so tall.
Yeah,
But
really tall.
There's more to.
But I do
basketball.
think Japan and Brazil in this group are shooting for a wild card berth. I mean, obviously they'd like to win, but good luck. I think.
No, I think they're not even. I mean, the wild card even like these are not good teams. This to
Right.
me is the easiest group in terms of there's two teams that are clearly better than the two bottom ones.
That's
Although
my
I will
point.
say Brazil surprised people; they had to qualify as well.
Brazil
But
should be a basketball nation.
Brazil, yeah, that should. Brazil was funny though because I was reading an excerpt on them and it was like inspiring performance in the qualifiers behind Bruno Caboclo.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, okay,
We good.
moving on. Rui Hachimura and Yuta Watanabe, by the way, for Japan, which is kind of cool, but no chance. Group C. This is the group right here. Team USA, Team Serbia, Team South Sudan, and Puerto Rico. You know who they have, who their guy is? They upset Lithuania, by the way. Pretty major upset.
Puerto Rico did?
Puerto Rico did.
The guy from the Pelicans.
Yes,
what's his name?
that's right. Jose Alvarado
Jose
went
Alvarado.
off.
Tiny King, I gotta say.
So that was a big one for them. And I'm telling you right now, for Serbia, Jose Alvarado is the type of guy that you fear in these competitions. The guy who's most capable of playing well above his station for one game.
Yep.
And if you're Team Serbia, your strength is kind of on the wing and inside. I do just a little bit worry about, man, is Alvarado going to hit like 5 of 6 threes in the second half of a game? So USA obviously going to be a juggernaut. Serbia is going to have a hard time in pool play with them. South Sudan is horrible. Bull, by the way, on South Sudan.
Yeah, Serbia needs to not. You're right. Serbia needs
We're
to
gonna
not
have Jokic
botch
versus
the
Bol.
Puerto Rico game, and it's. I mean, I think you should pick them to win.
They heavily.
But to be very clear, but yeah, it's one of those. It's the be careful game in this group for sure.
How many guys named Fall or Diop are on South Sudan?
So fall is Senegal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Come on, man. You got to learn the names.
I feel like an asshole. I don't know what to
Yeah,
say.
you really do. Let's talk about Team USA here, guys. This team really is a juggernaut, man. And I know we've said this a lot. One of the things in years past about Team USA is they've had really great players, but no shooters. Nowadays, there's no such thing. All great players are great shooters. And you go up and down the roster, and you're like, all right, Joel Embiid, so dumb that he's there, but he's phenomenal.
He's incredible.
And then Anthony Davis, yeah, that's pretty good as well. Who's the third string center? Oh, it's Bam Adebayo.
Right.
That's incredible. If you go through superstars, you know, LeBron James is there. A lot of people saying he looks the best in camp already. You've got Kevin Durant. You've got Steph Curry.
Devin Booker.
Jason Tatum. Like, they have no shortage. That you actually look at the roster and you go, there is no shortage of
Guys that you hate in the NBA.
Yeah, if there was one shortage, it would be on point guard play because your point guards are like LeBron, Harden, Halliburton, who's probably the least likely to play of everybody, Curry, who's not really a point guard. Again, what I'm saying is Curry is like a, you know, he's not John Stockton. Like, oh, I have all these good players. Let me get the ball where it's supposed to go, and that could maybe be their one weakness, but. Most of the time you look and go, maybe they can't shoot, and you go zone. This team can shoot like crazy.
Yeah.
They can defend.
Other teams, I think, are hoping it's one of those examples of the aggregate talent not necessarily gelling. But that is also still hopeful. That is a hopeful perspective on a group that I think has more than enough. And guys who have done it before. Look, they could lose games. International play is weird. But as much as we are sitting here, honestly, actively rooting for our boys in Canada and Serbia, we don't have to kid ourselves about what Team USA is capable
David
of.
and Goliath.
And what
Yeah,
they
there's
are.
not a single. There's not a single nugget on the U.S. Right?
Of course not.
So,
No.
what do we care? I thought maybe they would put AG to replace Kawhi Leonard, who predictably.
I regret to tell everyone they got Derek White, so they're winning.
Yep.
Oh, they got Derek White out. Oh,
So-
by the way, what do you make of that decision?
Game
Not
over.
Jaylen Brown? Derek White?
Listen,
Trouble
man,
in paradise.
don't get me going. If you had to pick one player to help you win a game from the Celtics, I know who's third.
I can't believe it. They're minus 625, which is kind of wild when you think that's versus
US
the
is?
field. Yeah, like they're
To win?
to win the whole tournament.
Oh, minus 625.
Yeah, that's like an extremely heavy favorite.
Extremely
plus
favorites.
That's pretty good juice.
No, it's not. It's actually not good
I
juice at
actually
all.
understand Miroslav now. You have to say loudly plus or minus.
That's so funny. This is a really good team, man. I will say, if we start thinking about paths to beating them, if we're Serbia or Canada, paths to beating them, I think number one, here's the scenario for me. The scenario is they don't know who their leader is. This is where it all starts.
Yep.
And I just think about right now, who's their leader?
LeBron.
You think, okay, maybe it is, but is he their best player right now? Is he their go-to scorer?
No.
I actually wonder who the go-to scorer is going to be. I have two people that I think are leading candidates, but before I say it, who do you think is going to be the leading, like, that guy gets the most scoring opportunities?
Throughout the whole game or in
No,
big
throughout
moments?
the whole tournament. Like, who's Team USA going, like, this is the guy that we have to feed the most?
I kind of think it will be some combination of Anthony Edwards and maybe AD.
Anthony Davis, you think gets the most touches?
Maybe.
He's not a scorer.
Kind of is. I don't know.
It could end up being. Maybe times have changed here, but Kevin Durant is their all-time leading scorer
Yeah, you're
in
right. It'll
program
probably be
history,
KD.
And he's a scorer.
and he's like a finisher. Like, you pass him the ball, and he's going to shoot.
Yeah.
And at the international level with that line, like, there's every spot of the floor is KD's as a shooter.
I agree.
And
I think he is one of my two that I think the team, in their heads, if a game were to get close, which again I don't know if they will, but if it were, I think they go, well, we get KD the ball in the wing.
And then I agree with Chat. Like, I think Steph should be heavily involved at some point here too.
The thing about Steph though is it's not like you just give him the ball in ISO, right? He's not great at that. You
gotta
run him
spring him
around.
in.
That's right.
Can you do
Right.
that though?
Right.
I mean, they're going to have a 4-day training camp as well. So I don't know if it's Steph. Like, I don't know if Steph is going to be optimized on this team, because to optimize him, somebody has to set screens.
Yeah.
Actually, lots of guys have to set screens,
Sure.
and I don't know if LeBron's going to go play the Draymond role.
The crazy thing is that I don't think we know the answer. Like, that's how
We
stacked
don't.
the team
We
is.
don't. But I do have one other candidate, and there's a reason I'm bringing it up this way. I think Joel Embiid and Kevin Durant are the two best scorers on this team. I mean,
see.
Joel Embiid might be the number one scorer in the NBA right now.
Yep.
And he loves to score, and he loves to get the ball and shoot his jumpers. And I could totally see him playing South Sudan and putting up 50 points and everyone being like, that's our guy. That's who we're playing through. But then you get into a real game.
Yep.
And it's like, and here's my only point. If you want to beat Team USA, it'd be, okay, they didn't respect the game enough to like really develop a system and all this stuff. And instead, they just think like, if the going gets tough, KD and Embiid. But you know what? I don't mind those guys being the guy you go to in the clutch. And if you get to a scenario where you go unchecked all the way until the medal round, maybe, the medal round, and all of a sudden you get in that spot, and it's like, oh, well, let's just go to Embiid. And he's like, oh, we got all these great players, though. Like, what do you... That's the one scenario I think you get to where it's weird.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I think you hope that that Embiid is demanding the ball in crunch time. I think you do.
What are we running ISO for? But they're doing it because those guys are so great.
And, could he probably get to the rim on anyone in this competition except for Team France at will? Yes. Will he probably just take some bailout jumpers? Yeah. Tremendous
yes.
players, but I think there are legit.
he can get to the rim
I think
and
there
get
are
to
legit
France.
pressure cooker questions about Embiid and just the approach in the press. So, that said, man, it doesn't hurt that they have him on the team. Probably,
Dude,
it probably doesn't hurt.
yeah, this team's going to be really interesting to watch. Really, really interesting to watch, because this is an all-star team that has something that they actually want to win, which is like,
Yeah.
truly the best players that the U.S. has to offer since the Dream Team, which is, I don't know. We'll see.
You think it is?
I mean, who's left off?
2008, with Kobe or something like that, I'm saying.
Oh, the Redeem Team.
The Redeem Team, maybe that one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's... I guess it's just...
LeBron's been on Team USA for 20 years.
I know.
It's actually wild.
It's just like the collection of players I guess it's just another example of the U.S. actually sending out their top dogs. So we'll see what goes on.
The other scenario here is, you did see Anthony Edwards say he's the top dog. You just listed him. He certainly sees himself that way. There is a world where, 2 minutes to go, they're weirdly tight, and they give the ball to a KD or to an Embiid. They miss one or two in a row, and Ant's like, really? Supposed to give it to him? No, thank you. Here we go, baby. And it's like, that's how you get it. Like, does that team have the clear top dog? It happened in 2008 with the Redeem Team, but Kobe was up to the challenge.
Yeah.
I just would love it if, it was less clear who it is up for the challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be KD. Now, I kind of forgot he was on the team when you asked
What
me
if
the
everybody's
question.
talking about how KD was the guy? It used to be Kobe, now it was him. It was never LeBron.
Ooh, interesting.
Now LeBron's like, what? I'll show you guys. Step back three, brick.
I knew you were going to add the brick. I knew. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, these guys are certainly not in their peaks, like the star power names. Well, some of them. but
You mean Patty Mills?
yeah, but I you look at the rosters up and down, and no matter how many angles you want to find, you go, yeah,
know.
I'm thinking Team USA's got a chance.
It literally feels insurmountable. I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but
Oh, it's ridiculous.
it looks ridiculous. But whatever, let's do
Yeah,
it.
you talk about other teams. You're like, they've got this guy and this guy. It's crazy.
You're like,
And then
Bilal Koulibaly.
Matthew Dellavedova.
You're like USA. You're like this guy and this
Yeah.
guy and this guy and
But
this
does
guy and this
Anthony
guy and this
Edwards
guy.
share the
What
ball?
the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Do we need to take the break for Fast Channel, Tiff? Boom, we're back.
What a treat.
We're back.
What a treat. We were
Last
never
thing
gone.
here, guys, you know, it has been discussed. I think Blackburn was the first to posit it a couple days back that, you know, perhaps the reason that Jamal Murray has not agreed to his contract extension is that maybe there's some incentives in there. You know, that it's not a straight max
Just some
offer, some
stipulations.
stipulations, some clauses, if you will. Maybe a weight clause, maybe a games played clause. And maybe some other incentives that is not. Maybe some of the contract is not guaranteed. If you're going to hand a max extension 4 years, you're kind of tied to a guy unless some of it's not guaranteed or some of it, you know, hey, you need to play X amount of game. We can't pay this amount of money if you were getting 20, 30 games out of you. So I don't. First of all, I want to say. Not clear to the extent of how much of those things have been discussed. Also, another piece of this was maybe you want to not sign a guy right before he goes and plays some really intense games in another country for a training staff you don't even know. So maybe get through that, and if you're healthy, then we'll get this thing signed. Whatever it is, the contract isn't signed and agreed upon, and it could have been by now. But the question is, D-Line, do you think it would be fair to insist on clauses in an extension for Jamal?
Yes, absolutely. Jamal is so supremely talented. Jamal is everything that he thinks he is, but he's also everything that everybody else thinks he is. And it's like he really, I mean, the truth of the matter is he's never been an all-star. He's never fully played a season to his level of potential. And, you know, last season he was good in the playoffs, but he was not great. So you don't have a sense of like, well, first off, I mean, there's no world that you don't try to re-sign Jamal. I mean, obviously, the team is predicated on he and Nikola Jokic. You don't want to disrupt that. You know, the devil you know is better than the one that you don't. But, I mean, you just have to be smart. You have to be smart from the business side of it and protect the Denver Nuggets. Like, if something happens to Jamal Murray, which has happened every year of his career,
Right.
Right.
you have to build some protections in. So we don't know that this is the case. But
We don't. This is why the conversation is really like, would it be warranted if it was the
course
case?
it's
If it is the
warranted. Of
case.
course.
But here's the thing, man. As much as you might be right about the logistics of this or the logic of it, the truth is the max contract is so weird because Jokic is worth $150 million, but you can only pay him a max. So a lot of guys are worth the max. Franz Wagner just got a max. I think Jamal Murray's better than him, and I love Franz
of
Wagner.
course.
So a lot of guys get this, and the other part is you said you have to protect yourself. Well, what if it does piss Jamal off so much that it like changes the dynamic in a way, a meaningful way?
I mean, that's always the risk you run, and that's why some front offices' approaches are to just get this done and not worry about it. But there's a version of the last couple of years, let me scratch that, just last year, where this conversation is very different, where it would feel unfair, where it'd be like, hey man, what else does he have to do to prove himself to this org in this city?
Yeah.
I don't think that's where we're at. I think he left the door open
Yep.
for conversations like these, for viewing his contract and his career through a prism like this. And it's fair, man. But that is a different. Now you got to put yourself in the shoes of a player in his camp.
Right.
Do they think it's fair? Like, do they give a shit about any of that? And that's I don't expect this to become an issue, but you know, I think you can envision, you can put yourself in the shoes of Murray here, thinking, hang on a second,
yeah.
I had a triple double in that finals. It's still the only title you guys have ever won, and I'm thinking, yeah, I get it all with no stipulations. There's something to that, so
It's true, and if you've ever found yourself in a negotiation with your work about a contract, a pay level, this, that, or the other, I mean, it can be a little awkward. It can be, you know, kind of a touch and go situation, but it's a negotiation, and like as soon as it's signed, it's done forever. This is not the type of thing that lingers. It's just But, this is like, and Jamal has obviously the Canada obligations that he's fulfilling. And so perhaps he doesn't feel like he's had requisite time to like really sit and think about it and talk it over with his team. So you can envision there's like a variety of reasons, but it's not like the contract is going anywhere.
So here's my thing with Jamal, because I'm kind of like over bashing him. Like the fan base has been really harsh on him, and rightfully so. Look, the guy, I think, lost.
Too, yeah.
He lost all goodwill throwing the thing on the floor. I think more than anything else. Like, you have a bad playoffs. You just gave us a championship. Like, all right, we can whatever. But I think it was the level of meltdown that happened in the little moments, and there's some other little things. But here's the thing: I'm over it. Like, I love Jamal, and I don't want this to become the thing where he's an enemy. I don't want him to become KD. The Warriors is KD,
right?
Where it's like, well, you're just the one that's not loved. Jamal is loved by Denver Nuggets fans, but he's at a bad moment. He's in a weird moment right now, and I'm going to tell you the thing to me that I think most about Jamal, and why the conversation that I hope is how we frame it with Jamal going forward. He had the quote that sticks out to me is when he talked about the Hunter and Hunted, and how he talked about how it was hard this year for him to get up being on top, or like he said something to the extent of like, it's just different, when you're not chasing something. And I think you are chasing something. And most guys are. Mm-hmm. You're chasing another title. You're chasing just like Yoke had a different quote earlier in the year where he talked about that wasn't addicted to winning, but something about
he never wants to go back to losing.
Never wants to go back to losing. Like, now that you do that, like we have it's a lifestyle. Winning is a lifestyle, and like now we're all locked into it. I don't know if Jamal feels that way based on some of his things. And again, I don't want to play armchair psychologist too much, but I think one of the things with Jamal this upcoming year is, where does your motivation come from? Is it external motivation? Are you a person that's externally motivated because somebody said something, man, and I'm going to get it? And I think Jamal is that guy.
He is that guy.
Somebody talks trash to him, it's external motivation. But the problem with that is it's not as consistent.
Nope.
And I think Jokic is an internally motivated person. He just has drive for its own sake. He wants to be great for his own sake. And I think Jamal, the question is, and I think one of the questions fans have, rightfully so, I imagine coaches and teammates and front office have also about him is, are you going to be motivated not for any other reason than the motivation itself? And to me, I think that this offseason and the playoffs that he had, and, I just saw Anthony Edwards gets the giant Adidas deal. Remember he was the New Balance face starting the season. It was kind of like, oh, cool, he climbed the mountaintop.
Right.
Immediately coughed it back up.
Totally, man.
And it's one of those things where it's like, are you the guy that just wants to win for the sake of winning? And can you look in the mirror and see what part of this is on you and come back and reach the height? Like, we're doing a thing next week where we're talking about the greatest games in Denver sports history. You know how many of my top nominations are Jamal Murray games?
Yeah.
His greatness is, like, when he reaches that level, he doesn't maintain it like Yoke does, but when he reaches it there, it's equally as great in these little flashes. And the fact that, like, can you find the motivation of, why should I do that? Because I can. Because I'm the only person on earth that can do that, and it's my duty to do it. And I think that's the big question for Jamal. And I think there's probably a lot of weirdness with him and with the team right now. But my hope is that this weirdness leads him to find internal motivation that propels him the rest of the way.
No, I hope so, man. I think that's what you have to hope. And I think that's what the org hopes. I also think the weirdness you described, I'm just really glad he's with Team Canada right now. It's just different. It's different basketball, different teammates. I do think it would help for him to play, stay healthy, and come into camp maybe and more ready to go. But also just to break from the Nuggets part and just get back to basketball in a different sense. I'm hopeful that will help him. But yeah, I mean, look, one of the chats there was, can we get Jamal an All-Star this season? It's up to Jamal, man.
Yeah, it's not up to us.
Jamal's got to get Jamal an All-Star this season. And I love that you said it. Why? Because you can, man.
Because you can.
Because you're that good.
Yeah. And it would be a shame not to. That's the whole thing.
It would be a shame not to. The best case scenario for the Nuggets is still Jamal just getting it right and coming back and having the season we all hope for. And even if you run through potential trades, you're either finding different skill sets or you're starting over with chemistry between the point guard and Jokic. Like, my preference is that they figure this out and that he kicks ass. And so I hope it manifests as you articulate.
These guys are also like growing up in life just the way that everyone is. And I honestly think 28 is one of those ages where it's like, you start to see 27, whatever. You start to see 30 and you start to go like, okay, what am I? Like, how much do I owe? And I think he has to sit there and imagine, are you going to tell your grandkids one day, I wasn't an all-star, but I could have been.
Right.
No, everybody knew I could have been one. It's like, that's kind of a bummer of a story, actually, to tell your grandkids. You know, he has enough accolades already to last him a lifetime, but again, there's more there, and my hope is that he gets it, because people have asked me, who do you want for Jamal? I don't want anyone! I don't want anyone. I want Jamal. I want the best Jamal, and I hope we get it. All right, we got some super chats.
All right, let's hit him. I'm going to bet $5 Cedric Exquisite is.
Oh my
Cedric
God, there it is.
Exquisite. Hunter Tyson equals Beast Boy. Vote equals Nightwing. Eric equals Cyborg. It's always like the character, like the secondary and tertiary characters.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know who any of these guys are.
You don't know who any of these guys are?
Dude, I'll take Nightwing.
Beast Boy?
This
That's
is
cool.
Teen Titans.
It's Teen Titans, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
Teen Titans.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Adam, you know that one.
The movie.
Yeah,
Nope.
that
Good
that
one.
was
Based on the television
Comics,
show off the comic
one
book.
with,
Yeah,
That's
the comics,
true.
and the
Yeah.
cartoon,
Cyborg.
and the
And they beat
movie,
up the
and
Hulk.
then the shitty
the one
cartoon.
with
Yeah.
Nightwing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Cedric.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Macaharoo. I told you PJ Hall. I love how he spelled Hall, by the way. Haul.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nickname right
Hell
there,
yeah.
dude. PJ Hall was going to be our guy. Nobody listened. I watch you guys every day religiously. Thank you guys for what you do. Nuggets for life.
Hell yeah. You called it. I didn't know that you called it.
Thank you. Josh Bonnet from Down Under. Our dingoes can barely take a baby, and you guys have wolves, mountain lions, bears, and crocs. This is a strong argument,
This is
actually.
actually a pretty good one.
Like your
It's a bigger
gators
country, though, I
have
think.
no one important who lives near them anyway. All right.
Don't you guys have, like, spiders and stuff, though?
Their bug
Their
game
bugs,
is,
man.
is
Their bug game is scary.
terrifying.
You guys
That's-
have worse bugs, and bugs are worse than animals. I love animals. I don't love bugs.
You're like giant spiders walk in like stray dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I'm
Dude, I'm
good.
good
Who
on the
wants
spider
that,
scene.
man?
But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just a good counter
Isn't
argument.
literally every animal poisonous in Australia?
That's what they say.
Human beings included.
His argument was that they don't fuck with you, but
Yeah.
our animals don't fuck with
But
you
don't
either.
they have, like, a lot of great whites, too, off the coast? There's
Yes, of
always
course
great
they
whites
do.
there, like the most great whites in the world.
Yeah, I'm pretty
course
sure
they
it's
do.
it's an animal kingdom hellscape.
Yeah.
But listen, Josh.
All right,
that's
Josh,
fine.
you
Yeah.
do you. All right. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. What a fun day. TR's supposed to say, yeah, it was,
Oh,
man.
hell
What
yeah.
a fun day that was. Oh, sir. All right, hit the outro. Hit the outro. It was great sharing it all with you guys. We'll do it again tomorrow if you don't mind. Hit the like button on the way out.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.